Kלים Perikit Mishnah Zayin. Kera Shoisot Tmei Midras. Kera is the leg of a bed. Now, the Mishnah says we have a leg of a bed, a single leg of a bed, which is Tmei Midras. Now, we learnt in Mishnah Hay that when you dismantle a bed in such a way that it can easily be put together again, then the individual legs may be tar for now, but when you reattach them to the bed, then the old tumah reawakens. It's chezeres l'tumos hayeshama. That's how a lot of Rishonim learned this Mishnah. But for some reason, Baal Tanura doesn't learn like that. The Baal Tanura's way of learning the Mishnah is actually simpler, and that's the one we're going to learn because that's the one you've got on the side of your Mishnahs. Baal Tanura learns you have a broken leg of a bed. Shoisot Tmei Midras means it actually becomes Tomei Midras in its broken state. That means if a Zov were to lie or stand or sit on the broken leg, it would be Tomei Midras. It would become an Avatuma. Of course, the obvious problem is that this rule of Midras only applies to Kelim which are meant for standing and sitting on. In fact, whole Kelim, it doesn't apply to bits of pieces, to broken legs. Legs are not makabel tumas medras, they're not made for sitting on. So the Mishnah Achrona explains, possibly we're talking about a leg of a bed which can actually be used as a walking stick, and therefore you put your whole weight on, and therefore it's actually ro'il in medras, and therefore actually can pick up a tumas medras even in its single broken state. Let's run with that. So we've got our leg of a bed, which has now become an avatuma. The chibra lemita, and you then attach this leg to a regular mita tahira. Kulat Tmei Midras. The whole bed gets the din of the leg. It all becomes an avatuma like the leg. This follows the basic rules of chibur. In the rules of chibur, if you have something which is tamei, and you machaber it in such a way that the chibur is a strong chibur to a keli, then as long as those pieces are mechuber together, the whole new part picks up the identity of the old part and it all becomes a medras. Pirisha, but when you split it, when you take the leg off again, then each bit goes its own way. Tmei medras, the original leg, remains what it always was, it remains an avatuma. The hamita, the rest of the bed, which is now not attached to the leg, maga medras, isn't anymore a medras because it's now no longer attached to the leg. However, at the moment of chibur, when you put the leg onto the bed, as we said last time, the bed, the previous Mishnah, the bed not only is becoming mechuber to the bed, it is to the leg, it is also touching the leg at the moment of chibur, and therefore the bed has picked up a rishon tumah by having touched a medras. That tumah which it picks up that way never goes. It was a bed which has touched an avatuma, therefore the bed always remains a rishon tumah because it once touched the avatuma itself. And the Mishnah is now going to say exactly the same thing going on with, instead of medras, we're going on to tumas meis. Hoisa tmei tumas zayin, if the kera was tmei tumas zayin, i.e. wasn't a medras, it was an avatuma, a 7-day avatuma of meis. For instance, it touched a meis, or it was in an oila meis. I'm going to ignore the problems of halal cherev, which Tosis Yom Tov talks about. But let's say it's an avatuma of meis, a 7-day tumah. And then v'chibro lemita, you then attach this leg to a regular mita tahira. The mita tahira's got 3 legs, and you attach this 4th leg. Kula tmei tumas shiva. The whole new bed becomes tamei tumas shiva because it's mechuber to the single leg, and therefore all becomes one entity, and it all becomes one tamei tumas zayin. The same rule, perishah, take off the leg again. Tmei tumas shiva, that leg remains tamei tumas shiva as it always was. Mita tmei tumas erev. The mita now is not part of that leg, but the mita did touch that leg once, and therefore the mita not only was it mechuber to the leg and became a tamei tumas zayin, the mita also picked up a tumah when it touched the leg, and therefore the mita became a rishon a tumah because at one point in its history it did touch the avatuma. Hoisa tmei tumas, the same story. The kera originally was not an avatuma. Was not a tomei 7 days. The kera was only a rishon a tumah, a 1-day tumah called the tumas erev. And then you attached the leg to a mitzvah tahira, kulot me'tum asarev, under the same rule. The whole mitzvah gets a din of a rishon tumah and is has a 1 day tumah. Pirsha, splitting the leg again, hitmei tumah asarev, the leg continues being a 1 day tumah of a rishon tumah, v'amitzvah tahira, because a keli can't become a sheni tumah. That's only sheni tumah is only reserved for echad and a mashkin. The mitzvah has now no longer mechuba to the leg, therefore it's not a rishon tumah with the leg. The fact that it touched the leg meant it touched the rishon, and a keli can't become a sheni, so the mitzvah is now completely tahor. V'chein hashein shel ma'ader. This is a similar circumstance. This is a pitchfork, a wooden pitchfork, and you have metal teeth. We mentioned this before, and we're talking about a case where the pitchfork became tummy. So all the individual teeth are tummy. You then take one of these teeth off and attach it to another pitchfork which is tahor. So if one of those teeth is an ava tumah or rishon tumah, the new pitchfork will adopt the same tumah as that tooth which was, that prong which was put into it. And when you remove that prong again, the prong itself stays with the old tumah, and the second pitchfork will become whatever it was by having touched the prong. So that's Mishnah Zayin, and going on to Mishnah Ches, which is a similar idea, now going on to Tefillin.